Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And before we begin, let me just quickly say that, again, I am not using my earbuds. The last couple videos when I didn't use them, I noticed that even though I was projecting my voice a little bit more than usual, it didn't sound that bad. It sounded louder, and I wonder, I'm going to try to, speak a little more normally. To be honest with you, I don't like using my earbuds because I noticed that they're so tuned into my voice that they don't pick up extra sounds like the when something snaps into place, or the click of a ratchet, that a lot of times I want you guys to hear so you can understand what I'm talking about. And that it's something, if I say it's something to look out for, you don't miss it. But rest assured, if I hear that it's not loud enough, or I hear back from you guys and you're saying you're having a hard time, I will go back to using the earbuds. And obviously, when I'm doing vlogs and stuff like that, I'll probably use the earbuds just because. And in case you're wondering, it's the Pixel Buds Pro that I'm using, since I have a Pixel phone. Potato, potato, you know? Now, today, we're taking a look at, and to be honest, I really wasn't expecting to review this figure this quickly, but stuff ended up getting delayed. Mail comes later. So here we are. This is from the Doom and Destruction collection. This is Decepticon Windsweeper, another Trigger Con. This is packed with Prime Universe Breakdown, who we will not be looking at because, much like Bludgeon, I really couldn't be bothered to have to remove the figure from the packaging, dig out the Wave 1 bulkhead just to show a color comparison and a new head. On top of all that, I have heard that Breakdown has some second mold syndrome issues with stuff not tabbing properly, being loose, some warpage, so I just didn't want to deal with it. I know there's a lot of Prime Breakdown fans, so there you go. I do find it funny that everyone, including myself, was expecting that Legacy bulkhead mold to be retooled into either a Beast Hunter's Optimus Prime or something connected to Rise of the Beast. And its first non-bulkhead use was for the main bulkhead's main antagonist and opposition in the Prime cartoon, Breakdown. But anyway, I'm very surprised with this Windsweeper figure, in so much that I really enjoy it. And I think I enjoy it better than the original use, which was the Target Master nose cone. And I couldn't be bothered to dig that out. You know, I think I'm going to do a video where I explain about my issues with doing comparisons, but basically it's a repaint with a new head. So I think you can tell. What I did do is I went back and I actually looked at the original TriggerCon toy, and I even compared it to the original double Target Master Needle Nose. I don't have them, I was just looking at photos, and they were actually very similar back then. And I just remember this was a late 80s period where the focus had shifted from being realistic vehicles to something a bit more fun and experimental and out there. And I kind of can see that maybe that they were just, found a really cool looking jet mode, and they went with that. Also, it's worth a mention that the Trigger Cons were actually smaller than the Double Target Masters, where the Double Target Masters, I would say, were a traditional deluxe size. The Trigger Cons were actually smaller. They were bigger than mini-bots, but smaller than what we would call deluxe. So I don't know really what size class they would fit in. But I found myself enjoying this more than Needle Nose, posing it around more. I think maybe some of the joints are a little bit tighter in some areas. The head is a bit more expressive. That could just be mine. Again, whenever I say something like, talking about our posing and the stiffness of joints, that's always a your mileage may vary point, because you could just I could just gotten a good copy of the figure, and yours, unfortunately, is a hot floppy mess. Now, let's real quickly go over the Target Masters. Now, I will never use these as target masters, but one thing I did find out is you can actually flip the barrels up, and if you rotate them back on the forearm, you can kind of replicate the trigger con look in the closed position. If you leave them on the forearm and not on the shoulder, if as long as you have the wings angled back like I do, you're not really losing that much in terms of the articulation from the universal joint and the double jointed elbow. So that's just something. So that's just a nice little point. Now in terms of them, very quickly, I mean, what are their names? It's like Sacco and Vanzetti. Yeah, let's see how many of you people understand that. Actually, their names kind of stuck out to me. The double-barreled one is Ozone, and the single-barrel one right here is Clean Sweep. Now, if those names sound kind of familiar to you, that's because they were used in the G.I. Joe EcoForce. So for the 2 or 3 of you that are actually going to watch this video, here's my hot take. I'll call it right now. Don't be surprised in 2025 if we have an announcement, not a release, of a EcoForce subline in the G.I. Joe classified line. So there's that. Let me get these guys out of the way since we're going to start getting into the transformation. But before that, let me real quick bring in Ruckus. And I'm not doing this as a comparison per se, but I just wanted to point out that they're about the same. They're the same size, deluxe class. Kind of explains why so much work was put into Ruckus to upsize it from Beachcomber, since I think they kind of wanted the trigger cons to be the same size and work in together, because Crankcase also is a deluxe figure and roughly the same size here. I kind of wish now that they would go back and do a little more little reworking on Crankcase, because this works fantastic. Ruckus without a C works fantastically as a trigger con. Windsweeper is good as a trigger con. I mean, yeah, you have the target masters, but it's there. But at least the weapons are there. Crankcase, yeah, no. I mean, we even saw it with Cannonball when they in the Star Raiders line. That those shoulder cannons really, because they were clearly working with a limited space. I think there was stuff that they could have done better. Now, in the original video, which I will, of course, link to for Needle Nose, I did go through the transformation from vehicle to robot. But since we're here, I think what we'll do is robot to vehicle, just to fill the time. So, first, what I would do, if you had them angled back, bring the wings down flush, turn the arms at the bicep, and you're going to use that double joint. There's a tab right below that port right there, that if you want to have some extra weapons or armor, you can use it. And you're going to tab it in just like so. Next, what you want to do is fold down the chest plate, and that will open up the chest, obviously. And flip down the head, flip up these shoulder panels, and then what you're going to do is, on this inner joint right here, the red section, going to fold the arms up, and that will close around. And now what we're going to do is, this will close up here, and there's tabs on those red sections that will sort of tab into place beneath, above the tabs on the chest plate. That will hold the chest into place, along with just the friction of like the chest plate being up against the arms. The next thing you want to do is come down here to the legs, and you want to rotate the leg so that the toe is facing inward. And you're going to bring it up on the hip joint. And there's a tab here on the hip joint that's going to slot into right under where the armpit would be. At the same time, you're going to bring up the leg and at the knee, and bending it at the knee, bring it over the arm section, and then flip the foot up so it's facing out. Do it again on this side, just like that, and close the feet. And if the feet aren't touching, give it a little extra push just to make sure, because there is a tab on the inside of the shins that would go into slots on the arms. So that is meant to like sit securely. So the next step, and we're getting close to the end here, is you want to grab this tail section and bring it up, untab it from the body, hinge it back, and really there's a couple tabs that are going to like peg into this back section, but really most of them are blind. The only ones you can see are the ones that are on the feet, and that will go right into the booster. And that will basically help secure everything and lock it all up into place and hold it. Finally, grab the nose cone, untab it from the tail section. Oh boy, this is like the tightest I've had it. Bring it forward, and that will tab down into place like so. Just give it all the little bit of the old transformer squeeze. Make sure everything's lined up. And there you go. You have a Windsweeper in its vehicle mode. Like I said, it looks very similar to the G1 design. Now, of course, let's quickly just bring these back into weapon mode, because then you can peg them in under the wings like on the original toy. Now, of course, all the other Target Master gimmicks that this mold can do is available. You combine it, tab it in here underneath to like form an extra thruster rear gun. The blasters can combine. But that's really the gimmick for the double Target Master and not Windsweeper. So very nice. Love the tampo work here. It's close to the original toy. And what I found out while looking it up is that Windsweeper and the other Trigger Bots, Trigger Cons, they were never released in Japan. So that's kind of interesting, where you started having that period where there were some Transformers released in Japan that we never got. Star Saber, Black Zarak, Brave Maximus, and then they had stuff like the Trigger Bots and Trigger Cons that, they didn't get. And I don't even think they got it as like a mail order exclusive, because there were a couple U.S. exclusives, the Minerva repaint, Searchlight. Oh, his name just went out of my... The detective. That was done as a U.S. exclusive. And Dreadwind and Darkwing, if I got those names right, their U.S. paint jobs were done as a mail order exclusive in Japan as like the U.S. exclusive. So that was kind of cool. But, yep, that's about it. So I think what we'll do is we'll pause and we will come back for some final thoughts. As of this recording, it's the day after of the Fall Prime Day event, where the Windsweeper and Breakdown set went on sale. Probably would have been a good idea to have this review up sooner, but to be honest with you, I didn't find the set discounted enough to warrant a recommendation. And that's really where we are now, much like with the Ruckus Without a C set, that whereas Windsweeper, I feel, is a really great figure and would be a lot of fun and to have in your collection, I can't recommend an exclusive 2-pack just for this. So what I do recommend is keep an eye out on Amazon, and as we get closer to the holiday season, like Black Friday, I think they'll really discount this set as well as the Ruckus and Bludgeon set, and then it might be a little more palatable on your wallet. Just keep in mind, as I said in the beginning, your mileage may vary. You might get a lemon of the figure. But mine, it's solid, it's tight, it's quite enjoyable. Would I prefer having new molds for these, later season Transformer figures? Absolutely. Because I can only speak for myself. Ruckus, Windsweeper, these were actually the guys I got that stood the test of time. I mean, if I go find my old Ruckus, it's still in one piece. I didn't have Windsweeper, so I can't say about that. But a lot of those early Transformers, were a little more fragile. And to be honest, and again, a lot of that had to do with my youth, age. I was a little bit older, a little more careful, followed directions a little bit better. So yeah, like Ruckus, Windsweeper, for a lot of people and collectors, these were the characters and the toys that actually they might remember a little more fondly just because they were a little older. And if they were starting to get into the franchise then, these are the characters they remember. But I do understand why that maybe Hasbro doesn't see the value in doing new molds. And you know what? That's not to say somewhere down the line we won't get a new mold Windsweeper, a new mold Ruckus, a new mold Bludgeon, who we've already had in the Revenge of the Fallen line. So just heck, look at Optimus Prime. Right now, because Target is starting to get it in stock, people are getting Studio Series 86. Beginning of the year was a re-release of the Earthrise of the Legacy figure in the United line, that G2 style. So if you don't like a particular version of a character, wait a little bit. You might have to wait a few years, but they might do it again in either a new mold or use a mold that you find more enjoyable. But for what we have right now, this is probably the best Windsweeper we're going to get. But that's it for the review. If you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe. That does help with the algorithms, especially when doing videos like this that some people may not consider a complete review. It allows me to give a little more attention to, shining examples. But and also, as I said, helps with the algorithm, promoting the channel, getting, featured recommendations, stuff like that. I also have a Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/ChuckDog1999. All I ask for is $1 a month, $12 a year. You guys know the spiel. Well, actually, it's more like a spew. $1 a month, $12 a year. No thrills, no tears, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you. Help me help you keep up the infrastructure of the channel and bring figures like this to you. But as I always say, if you can't afford the $1 a month and $12 a year, your views are more than thanks enough. And I really do mean that. I really do appreciate you guys checking out my videos, especially the older ones. One thing that YouTube likes to tell me is that my legacy videos, we're talking about a legacy Transformer, but my legacy videos tend to do well. And I noticed that because I think what it is, it's parents going out and buying older figures for their kids, finding them maybe at flea markets and what have you, and then coming to me to figure out what the heck do you do with it, which I really appreciate. And that's one of the things I enjoy doing and being there for you, being that, guiding hand, that recommendation, maybe like a little clearer explanation than other reviewers. But that's about it. Once again, for the Doom and Destruction collection, Windsweeper, we will see you next time.